StraighTAllDay.com.
Into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we're going to talk about the key to multiplying your productivity on a daily basis. So any of you who is looking to be more productive, get more done every single day, this is the episode for you. But before we get started, let me remind everybody that I send out a daily motivation text message free of charge every single day, straight to your phone. This message is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. I call it the daily motivation. You want to receive this message. So let me tell you how to get it. All you got to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every morning, when the daily motivation text goes out to everybody in my text community, you shall receive that message again to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. Text me right now. That number is listed down below in the show notes. Also down below in the show notes is a link to Work on Your Game University. That is the only place where I do any type of coaching. That's the only place you can get access to me directly. That's the only place you can get, you can consult with me. That's the only place you can get direct access to me as far as if you want to be able to pick my brain, you want to share with me what you have going on and get my insights on what you're doing and how you can do it better, faster, more efficiently, or maybe if you need to even be doing it at all, maybe do something different that would help you get to your goals faster. You need to be a member of Work on Your Game University. When you're a member, you get access to all my best courses, all my best trainings, coaching from me. You get 2 physical mailings that I send out every month, the Bulletproof Bulletin and the Black Book. All of that is as a member of Work on Your Game University. The way you join is by going to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. You'll see your options right there on the page. So with all that said, let's get into this topic. The key to multiplying your productivity every day. People are always asking me and telling me about how their goals are to be more productive and to get more done. I hear this almost every single day. People talking about, well, I got to get more done. I got to stop procrastinating. I got to be more productive. I got to be more consistent. I got to be more motivated. I got to be more focused. They're all different versions of saying the same thing. There's things that I want to get done that for whatever reason right now, I'm not getting them done. All right. How many of you have I just described right there? There are things I want to get done right now. They're not getting done. All right. Today, we're going to talk about how you can actually start multiplying your productivity, even though the amount of time that you have is not changing. Let's get into it. Point number 1. Time once again. Key to multiplying your productivity every day. Here's the first thing you got to do. Decide on the one thing, not 3, not 7, not 2, one thing that makes today a win, and do that first. Here's where we start. What's the one thing that will make today a success? Do that thing first. See, what this is about effectiveness, which is about results, not just activity. You see, when you're aiming for productivity, you could put a whole lot of activity out there and you could produce a lot of something, but it may not actually help you go anywhere. So productivity is actually not really the goal here. I titled this episode about productivity because many people seek and chase productivity, but what you really should be chasing is not productivity, but effectiveness. Effectiveness means you are creating an effect and producing a specific outcome. That's really what we need to focus on, not just being productive just to say that you're being productive. What is the one thing that will make today a success? This is a question you should ask yourself every day. You want help with framing out how you plan your days and how you set your goals and such? Get a copy of the mental workbook. If you're watching on videos, this red book you see right here over my left shoulder. You can get that by going to WorkOnMyGame.com/workbook. The mental workbook helps lay this out for you, framework by framework, step by step. So it's easy. All you got to do is plug in what we tell you to plug in. So this episode, again, I may title episodes where I'm talking about productivity, but what we really want you to be going after here is effectiveness. Effectiveness means you are producing an effect, i.e., you are helping get to a specific outcome. You're not just doing stuff just to say that you did it, which is what productivity is about. You don't want to necessarily need to be more productive. What you need to be is more effective. You could actually reduce your productivity and increase your effectiveness. Think about it. If you had 5 products that were $100 a piece, 5 products, $100 a piece, and your job was to go out and have 10 sales conversations about each one of those 5 products, that means you got to have 50 sales conversations. And let's say each one of them you were successful and you closed and sold your product to every single person that you talk to. So you have $100 product and you have 5 of them. So product 1, you had 10 sales conversations for $100 a piece. That means you made $1,000 because each person bought. So you did that with product 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. You just made $5,000. But you had to have 50 sales conversations in one day to make that $5,000. Congratulations, you did it. What if instead you have one product that costs $10,000 and you sold 50% of the people who you spoke to? And over the course of a day, you had 2 sales conversations. You sold one person. You made $10,000. All you had to do was have 2 conversations as opposed to the other day. And the other day where you had 50 conversations to make 5,000, or you had 2 conversations to make 10,000. Which day would you rather have? The more productive day with 50 conversations, or the more effective day with 2 conversations? See, this is the difference between productivity and effectiveness. So maybe productivity is not even the thing that you need to be chasing. See, productivity is a slippery concept because you can produce a lot of things that aren't doing much for you. So any of you who feels like you're working hard every day and putting in a lot of time and effort, yet you still don't feel like you are making real progress, you know exactly how this feels, right? See, the goal is not productivity. Again, I'm labeling it productivity in the title of this episode because that's what most people are going and looking for. Most people are not going on the internet and Googling, how can I be more effective? They're Googling, how can I be more productive? So I'm basically clickbaiting you by talking about productivity when the real goal is effectiveness. What you really want to be is effective. People who get a whole lot done, it seems like they're getting a lot done, but it doesn't really seem like they're working that much harder than you. Those people are effective. They are not productive. They have a different goal than you. In other words, they're playing a different game than the game that you are playing. They're asking themselves a different question. This is the insight that changes everything. I talked about insight in episode 1177. If you did not listen to that episode on insight, please listen to it. And insight is the key to going from 1x to 10x. It is easier to 10x your outputs than it is to 2x your outputs. And how do you do it? With insight. In other words, asking yourself a different and better question. Many of you can't ask yourself a better question because the better question has never occurred to you. This is why you need to get access to other people's brains aside from your own, because your brain can only produce what it knows. And what it knows is, you want to know what your brain knows? Okay, just look around at your outcomes. Look at your current situation. That's what your brain is capable of producing. If you want to produce something different than what you have right now, you need access to someone's brain outside of yours, because your brain, look at your life, you're seeing what your brain is capable of. If you want to do more than that, then you got to do something different. If I got any of this wrong, any of you can logically tell me how this is inaccurate, let me know. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the key to multiplying your productivity on a daily basis. You can get one thing done. Everybody can get one thing done. I don't care what it is. Anybody can get one thing done if you spend the day focused on that one thing. But many of you struggle trying to get 10 things done every day. How many of you find yourself getting to the end of the day and you got a good number of things done, but you didn't get everything that was on your list completed? How many of you ever had that situation? Many of us, all of us have that situation from time to time. The reason why this happens is we're simply putting too many things on our plate based on our ability to get things done. We're overloading ourselves with more tasks than we are actually capable of completing. And not every task you do is of equal importance. This is why prioritization matters so much. One challenge that many of us ambitious and hardworking people have is that we often put more on our plate than we actually have the resources to do. Resources, time, money, attention, energy, and focus. Do you have the resources to actually do all 17 things that you have on your list today? Do you actually have the resources to do them? Have you thought about how much time each one would take? And adding up that time, then looking at the time you have on in the day, does it even make mathematical sense? For many of you, the answer is no. You can just stop right there. And now you got to make some adjustments. So what happens is, because we set ourselves up to fail, we don't get everything done. And then we feel as if we're not being productive enough. This is where that whole concept of I'm not being productive enough comes from, is that we set ourselves up to try to do more than we are capable of doing, more than we have the resources to doing. Then we don't do it. And then we feel bad about ourselves because we didn't get, quote unquote, everything done. Well, everything was too much from the beginning. You set yourself up to lose. This is why the process matters so much. This is why the Work on Your Game system is the Work on Your Game system, because it's about explaining to you how to set up your process so that you're not setting yourself up to fail, but setting yourself up to win. Many of you continually set yourself up to fail, and then you feel bad and you beat yourself up. And the reason is not because there's anything wrong with you, it's because something wrong with your process. Your process is broken. But then you're taking your frustration out on the wrong target, which is yourself. So any of you feel like you're not being productive enough, I would bet most of the time the reason is you're setting yourself up to not be productive. The smarter way to do things is to give yourself fewer things to do, but things of higher impact. So would you rather do 10 things of low impact or 3 things of high impact? Of all the things that you could get done, what's the one thing that will make the most difference in your situation? Every day, there's an answer to this question. Some days the thing will be bigger than other days, but this is the question you should ask. Let me ask it again. Of all the things you could get done today, what's the one thing that can make the most difference in your progress? The key to this is knowing what moves the needle for you and what moves the needle for your business. And to answer this question, all you need to know is where you're trying to go, what your end outcome is, and when you know what that is, then it'll be easier for you to decipher what the most important next thing is. What is it? You need to know. So again, you need to know where you want to go and what the end outcome is. How would you know that you have reached it? When you know what that is, then it's very easy to decipher what's the next thing, what's important right now. And point number 3, today's topic once again is how to multiply your productivity every day. The key to multiplying your productivity every single day. Number 3, here's a very important thing to understand about all of this that we're talking about. The highest impact thing you could do is usually not also the easiest thing that you could do. The highest impact thing is not usually the easiest thing that you could do. The highest impact thing is the thing that you may be finding yourself subconsciously and even consciously avoiding doing simply because it is not easy, it's hard, and the other items on the list are more tempting because they'll give you the dopamine rush of feeling as if you did something because it's just a little small, simple thing. So what we tend to find ourselves gravitating towards, all of us, because we're human, are the things that seem relatively simple, relatively easy. We could do these without that much more effort than we're giving right now. We tend to do those first. Why? Because they're easy to do. What I'm suggesting that you do is to recognize this, not necessarily that you don't do them at all, and maybe not even that you don't do them first, but your priority, and this is something you have to keep in mind, your priority is what is the main thing, the one big thing that will render everything else irrelevant, that would make this whole day a success if I just got this one thing done, even though I'm leaving 10 or 15 things on my list undone. If I get this one thing done, we'll make today a win. And the reason why many of us avoid the high impact thing is because it's not easy. It's often actually pretty hard. And the other items on the list are more tempting to do. Because again, you get the dopamine hit of saying that you did something. But the juxtaposition of doing those easy things that you can check the box on is that they're not actually helping you create progress. This is the real problem. You're doing them and you can say that you did them, but are they actually helping you move forward? And the answer for most of the time, most people, most parts is no. The things that are easy to do and help you easily check the box are not really making a real difference in your life. Even though you are working hard at them and you're tired at the end of the day, are you actually moving forward? What did you do to move yourself forward today? What did you do to move yourself forward yesterday? The most important thing that's on your list is often the hardest and most challenging thing on your list. Let me repeat that. The most important thing on your list is often the hardest and most challenging thing on your list. The discipline is conditioning yourself to do the hardest and most challenging things first, which often render the rest of the things irrelevant, if not relatively easier to do. This is where the mentality of the third day comes into play. So if you don't have that book yet, go get it at thirddaybook.com. Doing the hardest and the most challenging thing first, when you get used to doing that, then everything else you do over the course of a day is downhill, because none of it is as challenging or as hard as that main thing that you were doing to start your day. This is a structure that you can put in place that produces on the back end the discipline that you want. Let's recap today's class, which is key to multiplying your productivity on a daily basis. Since people are always asking me about how to do this, That's what we're talking about. Number one, decide on the one thing that makes the day a win and do that one thing first. This is about effectiveness, which is about results, not just activity. And again, I titled this episode talking about productivity because many people seek that out. But what you really need is effectiveness, which is about creating an effective ad campaign, effective and creating something that is effective and producing an outcome, such as an ad campaign is actually producing the result that you want, or a media buy that is actually producing the outcome that you want, not just doing something just to say that you did it. Productivity is a slippery concept because you could be producing a lot of things that aren't really doing much for you. So be careful what you're being productive at. Number two, you can get one thing done, but we're likely to struggle to get 10 things done. That's why you got to focus on what is a priority, what's the main thing. This is what we call prioritization. This is why it matters. One challenge that many of us ambitious people have is that we put more on our plate than we have the resources to handle. So then we end up beating down on ourselves because we didn't get everything done, quote unquote, everything. The only everything that you have to get done is the stuff that you gave yourself. So if you give yourself a different prescription, it'll be easy to get everything done. So what will make the most difference in your progress? What's the one thing that will matter the most? The key is knowing what moves the needle for you and for your business so you're not flying blindly. And number three, here's a very important thing to understand about all this. Highest impact thing you could do is usually not also the easiest thing you could do. Highest impact thing is something that you may be finding yourself avoiding consciously or subconsciously because it's not easy, because it will take work. And many of us would rather check the box on something that is not important and irrelevant than to be the person in the middle of the square trying to do the thing that maybe everybody else doesn't want to do, that's hard to do, that is not easy, that takes the most effort. But when you get the result and the outcome, then you like a genius because you went and got that thing done, whatever it happens to be. So this is where the mentality of the third day comes into play. If you don't have that book, go get it at thirddaybook.com. All that said, text me. Let me know the best idea you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University. That's the place where you get all the coaching from me. That's where you get direct access to me. That's where if you want to get on a call with me and talk about where you're at, where you want to go, no obligation call. Talk about how we could possibly help you get to where you want to go once I understand your situation. Go to WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Again, WorkOnYourGameUniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all day.